somewhere on this on the left side of your picture on your live stream is wearing the number 208. One of the teammates, actually, of Kai Askey, driving for Rookie Fling Motorsport. Paul Aaron, the current leader of the junior championship with the most points so far after 3 rounds. Certainly the favorite to the European title. It will be then the first Estonian driver to be crowned in this category. We're not there yet. We're 21 laps far from what could be a title for Paul Aaron, or what could be as well a disappointing situation. We'll see what happens as the drivers are pushed by the Honda mechanics to make their way onto the track for the warming lap. For the rest of the grid, we're going to have on 5th row Alex Dunn and Isaac Adjar. 6th row will be shared by Thomas Tenbrick and Alfio Spina. 7th row, Telo Barnard and Luca Griggs. 8th row, Rafael Camaro and Sebastian Ogard. 9th row, Paolo Gallo and Dino Beganovic. 10th row, Kyrus Moll and Enzo Trulli. Then we have on 11th row, Sebastian Montoya and Marcus Amann. 12th row, Lorenz Van Upen and Salumi Matsalmi. Tom Usen and Evan Malek will be sharing the 13th row. 14th row of the grid, Lorenzo Delosio and Lorenzo Fluxa. Timotheus Kuracik, the 621, one of the best wildcards that we've seen so far on the grid, will be with us. And there's a problem already. There's a problem affecting the 234 driver. Let's have a quick look. I think it was one of the drivers from CRG, if I'm not mistaken. 234 being Dilano Vantov indeed. Good spot, Chris. Quite a disastrous situation already for Dilano Vantov. I was about to name the Dutch driver starting from the 15th row alongside Timotheus Kuzacic, the wild card. Then we have the 16th row, Josh Dufek and Conrad Lawson. And on the last row, Tikhon Karitonov and Elliot de Veron. This race being a final, we have, of course, 2 laps to get your tires at temperature. One actually to do that, and the other one to get yourself onto the grid. This is the this is the grid formation lap, as it is referred to. 34 drivers, at least -1, as we have just seen. Dilano Vantov struck by mechanical problem. What a disastrous end of weekend for Dilano Vantov, who has been struggling so far, Chris, to get the best result out of his chassis. But once again, as it has been the case for some of the drivers here at Hesse, the mechanic and the chassis has failed the driver. As Dilano Vantov, is he back in the field? Actually, we haven't seen him getting back on his cart.
No, he hasn't. Well, I hate to say, a mechanic, Alex Gill, I think, trying his best to get it started there. Former driver in the CIK, but a real shame for those guys. Right, let's get ready to go racing, though, because we still do have 33 drivers on the grid. Nikita Bedrin is on pole position to your left, and Kai Askey to the right. Here we go, down towards turn number 1 for the first time of 21 laps, and Bedrin, a good start for him. Askey there in 2nd place as they make their way around turn 2 and up towards turn number 3 here. Bernier is in 3rd place. Bortoletto in 4th place. Mini in 5th place. Oh, a huge accident! Huge accident. Driver up and over. Rolled it twice. And there you can see the outcome of the incident. Surely we're going to get a red flag here. The driver in a lot of pain, it seems, and assistance immediately over. The 2 drivers, it seems, that have not come round are Tom Uzan and Tikhon Karitonov. Karitonov, to me, appeared to be the driver that had gone over, but I'm not going to say that with certainty, as I do not want to worry anyone. Tom Uzan, actually, I think it may be, as Guillaume has been looking very carefully. Karitonov appears to be okay and is walking away from the incident. Karitonov looks to be needing a little bit of assistance here, but I can tell you that all the medical staff are currently around him and treating him immediately. The race has been red flagged. As they came in towards turn number 3, there was an incident which saw Tikhon Karitonov and Tom Uzan involved in an incident. That's good. Well, you can see Tom Uzan has just sat up now, and you may be able to see at the very top of your picture, he sat up with the medical staff around him. A lot of marshals there as well, straight on hand, and I think before he gets up, they just want to make sure that he is okay. So it's a full red flag. It'll be a full race restart, and Tom Uzan and Tikhon Kaditonov appeared to have just had contact coming into turn 3. It was right at the back of the field. Tom Uzan ended up fortunately rolling the kart. I think it was twice, and Tikhon Kaditonov was kind of stuck underneath it all. And Kaditonov is up and out. He's currently by the start-finish line where the marshal post is there. Uzan is now got his crash helmet off, and they're just doing checks to his back at the moment. And we'll keep you updated with everything that goes on there. Of course, I think something that the cameras aren't going to show too much of for Tom Uzan. And that's good news. Tom Uzan is now on his feet, and that's good news to see. I mean, of course, for the race, Tikhon Kaditonov and Tom Uzan, that is bad news. But Tom Uzan is now walking away from the incident. What a strong lad there, because that was a big incident.
Yeah, fortunately for the most sensitive viewers out there, it wasn't shown on camera as it was happening further back in the incident. As you can see on the left, right now on the picture, actually, Tom Uzan getting under the tent, the medical tent, just alongside the start-finish line. It just happened further back, getting into turn number 3 as we were focusing on the leaders in this first corners, this first lap of the race. What a start of a finale. We were expecting, of course, we never expect that kind of thing to happen. Even though there's a lot of pressure on those young drivers' shoulders getting into the finale. They know that they've been putting a lot of work, a lot of energy to make their way into this final and, most important, the rest of the weekend. So that might play a little part into these drivers' mindset crossing the start-finish line and green line. You can see the picture with Tom Uzan being taken care of by the medical staff. This is great news, with thumbs up for the Frenchman, as you don't currently see it, but all the mechanics for each driver. And there's one of the mechanics from the VDK just coming to his driver to reassure him. But that's good news, definitely, to see Tom Uzan being taken care of. He seems in good condition, as he was very quickly on his feet. He might need a little checkup, of course. Fortunately for him, the doctors and the medical staff have been really, really quick to intervene on the incident location. That wasn't too far, fortunately, just in the corner number 3, just on the other side of the start-finish line on the left of your picture. You can actually see one of the carts of the unfortunate drivers. I think there's the 2 carts involved. The other one being, of course, the 216 of Tikhon Kaditonov. A big incident, red flag. We never want to see that happening, of course, Chris. That's part of racing, nevertheless. But both of the drivers are up on their feet. That's the first good news. And we're going to wait if we can get more information about when we're going to restart.
Well, I saw Karitonov's mechanic running straight to his car. I don't know if he's going to be allowed to restart this, but they're currently having that discussion now. His mechanic is by the car, and they're currently discussing, well, I think he's currently inquiring about Forza Racing, the team boss here, the owner of the Forza Racing team, Jamie Croxford, is now onto the circuit to discuss about whether he can restart this race. I don't think we're going to see Tom Uzan back in this race, but I wonder if we're actually going to see Delano Vanhoff, because Alex Gill, his mechanic, ran onto the track straight away. It was all the mechanics sprinted onto the circuit just to get over to their drivers as quickly as possible, get themselves ready to go. Of course, for Kaditonov and Uzan, it was a case of checking whether they were okay. But now it looks to be a case of discussion around the Kaditonov car of whether he can restart this race or not. His mechanic is running back, so I wonder if there's going to be work done on this car and whether he's going to be allowed back out or not, because his mechanic is currently running back off to the side of the circuit, back to the trolley, I think, where they'll have their toolboxes and a couple of things on there. So I don't know what you think, Guillaume, but at the front, that's just the drivers have basically got to get back into their grid slots now, and now Tikhon himself walking over to find out whether he's going to go racing, I think. So he was the one who got straight up and walked away. Tom Uzan, obviously a completely different scenario, but Tom Uzan thankfully appears to be okay. We've got the recovery vehicle out there just going to pick up Tom Uzan's kart and the kart of Tikhon Karatonov as well.
Yeah, that's the kind of situation and the kind of scenario that we don't like to see once again. But we should wait for a couple of minutes.
I was going to say, you probably saw it better than I did, because I was looking at the leaders. We were looking at the leaders on screen. And
I was indeed,
you were the one
indeed.
that actually spotted it. So why don't you tell us sort of what happened from now? Now we know that both drivers are okay. I think we could probably talk about the incident. What was it you saw that happen, just for the viewers at home?
Yeah, I had a hide indeed through the window, the other one on the leaders, but it happened so quickly. But from what I saw, getting into the turn number 3, there was a huge contact. I think, without being at 100% sure, but I think the Tom Husman, the 278, actually was taking the inside line, trying to get past Tonon Karitonov on that one. And I think it just... I didn't see any wrong move from any of the drivers. I guess in the excitement of the start, into the first corners, it's always a bit messy, of course, because everyone wants to get past the other, tries to get some ground as much as possible. I didn't see any wrong move in that one. I think it could be considered as a racing incident.
Yeah, just too many cars into one.
Too many cars, and we know how tricky this first part of the track is. Getting yourself into the first corner at very hot speed. Actually, down to the corner number 2. This is one of the highest top speed on the track. About, I think, as well as for the straight line, all the way up to turn number 7, you can reach up to 120 kilometer per hour. So that's quite a lot, considering, of course, the average speed. That's much less, but this is actually the top speed on this track. And with so many cars in the same corners at the same time, this is always the same. Of course, this is a finale. I was maybe suggesting that because this is the most important race, of course, of the entire week and the entire week. The driver's mindset, even though they'll say, okay, this might be a race like the others, even though it's worth a lot more points in terms of championship, and it's still, I'm pretty sure that the mindset might be a little bit different, knowing that this is the finale. They need to put everything together. And on that one, I think it was a racing incident, even though very impressive. Fortunately, no injuries. I mean, from what we can see for the two drivers involved, I think, so far we've seen them standing on their feet, so this is good news. But racing incident, we shall see what the stewards, of course, might come up with as a decision. As you can see on screen, as it happens in that kind of situation, all the drivers gather around the race director, just alongside the start-finish line. This is required, of course, because they need to be aware of what just happened. They need to be, I guess, even though the mechanics might have told them already about why we have a red flag, of course, in this race.
I don't think it's for that exactly. I think it more is, look, guys, calm down. Let's take it easy. Let's all get round the first lap. I think it's just we have drivers briefings that happened, and they have this exact talk. But anytime there's a big red flag incident, all the drivers will be gathered round to say, and I've been in this position myself. After any red flag, you'll all be brought to the front of the track and gathered round, and essentially what the stewards will be saying now is, look, just take it easy. It's the first lap. Let's all give each other a little bit of space out there. Let's all get through and let's have a good race, because that's all everyone wants to see, a good, clean race. The drivers want that. The teams want that. We want that. The championship organisers want that. All the guys at the FIA, of course. So it would be great for everyone. This, unfortunately, just an unfortunate incident, a big incident. Thankfully, both drivers okay. It's actually a blind entry to turn 3, isn't it? And it's a kind of double apex corner. It's a corner where you kind of break. I'd say almost a double apex. You've got to get to the inside, brake, and then move back to the outside of the circuit before turning back in to take the main racing line. Perhaps when it's a blind entry to a corner like that, if there's something that's gone on ahead, you're never going to see it. And just to give you an idea of where those two were, by the way, Karatonov was starting this race down in 33rd place on the back row, Tom Uzan on row 13. So it could be a case of Tom Uzan was involved in an incident and Karatonov didn't see anything happening ahead, came into view, came into the corner and was just unsighted, and an incident developed, and we're not even gonna try and work out exactly how it happened, but I think just to give you an idea, that's roughly what Guillaume saw, and it was a big incident, but the end result is everyone is okay, and we are going to go racing again pretty shortly. Now,
I guess that's just a basic result of physics, to have like two tires rolling over each other when they have contact. That might happen. Of course, this is the worst case scenario in terms of contact.
He was sort of stuck on top of him, wasn't he, Tom Uzan?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I think maybe he might have hit first the tire. Just a suggestion from my side, but maybe the tire was the first contact that got stuck, rolling over, and with the speed they were carrying, entering the top the corner number 3, it just went for a flip 2 times. That was the scariest part, definitely, of what just happened further back in the field. But that could be either he got stuck trying to get past, or the tires might have been involved in that one. But simple suggestion from our side, of course. The result, of course, definitely is that both drivers are out of danger so far. They might need a good checkup suddenly after from the medical team. The question remains. I doubt that, of course, that will be accepted again in the race.
No, Uzan definitely isn't going to go out because he's sat over at the marshal stand where the starting line is, and he's smiling. Actually, he's seems to be getting on with just speaking with some of the marshals there. And Kadatonov's kart is not on the track because he's due to start behind Conrad Lawson. I can see, if you look out, Guillaume, you can see the 269 at the back on row 16, but no kart on row 17. What about Delano Van Hoff? I don't know if you have
That's
a
the last
view of his
question
car.
remaining. Yeah. But we still wonder actually if he will be accepted on track. The question is, were his mechanics able to get the car starting again?
I can see him on track, I believe. I can see Delano and Caditon. Wait, is that Caditon? That's Paul Aron. He's running over now towards the side of the circuit.
While we were talking, actually, I had a look
Drivers are actually being allowed. Sorry, Guillaume.
Yeah.
Drivers are actually being allowed to sort of get over to the side of the circuit here. I'm not sure. I think that might be to receive a drink, perhaps, before they get the race underway. But as you can see, a lot of drivers running back. We can't quite see that because that's quite literally under us. But we haven't been officially told when this race will be restarted. But we will keep you updated as soon as we know everything. It certainly looks like it won't be in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Perhaps I'd say 5 minutes.
Look down our commentary box on the start line, just alongside the track. I just briefly saw actually Stuart, the team manager of Forza Racing, that we had the pleasure of chatting to. I mean, is back down there. Actually, I have a good sight on him, and he was talking to Karitonov, even though that might not mean anything in terms of Karitonov back on track or not. But certainly from the two, Uzan or Karitonov, that got involved in that big incident, Tom Uzan is definitely not getting back on track. But I wouldn't be so sure for Karitonov, because I still see the team manager of Forza Racing on the track. Of course, he has other drivers to be talking to, but the question remains actually if Karitonov will be allowed, if his mechanic, if his chassis is still, of course, usable to get back on racing without any danger for the drivers and the others as well on track. We should have confirmation anytime soon. As a matter of fact, because of that incident and the red flag that just followed, we don't have any classification yet. At least this is the same as it was on the starting grid. As you can see, starting grid was roughly reformed according to the order the drivers crossed the start-finish line after getting back, after completing this first lap. It wasn't even a first lap. I mean, as it was interrupted halfway to the distance because of the flag.
Yeah, and we've got one of the officials actually, I think, just speaking with Kayaski on the front row, so they will both speak to. That's another common thing. Just speak to both drivers on the front row and say, give each other space across the line and have a good race. Sometimes get them to shake hands as well. Drivers tend to do that anyway, especially at this level. It's as much as they all want to go out and win. They're good friends off circuit as well, which we always see the camaraderie off circuit. But we did hear a siren go. Now that could mean 5 minutes. I have just asked the timekeepers to let us know when we are getting towards 2 minutes to go, and I've just been told now 2 minutes until we're going to get this race started. So thanks to the guys that are literally next door to us, and they will get going. Perhaps, Guillaume, you could find out if Tikhon Kharitonov and Delano Vanthof are going to get started, because some of the one or two of the officials are next door to us. So Guillaume is just running off next door now to see if Kharitonov and Vanthof are going to restart, either or. Tom Uzan looks like he is going to be watching the race from the side of the circuit. Perhaps he may leave the circuit before we get going, but he is still currently across from us on the inside. You might be able to see him if you know Tom Uzan, just to the left of your picture where there's a big lamp post. He's quite just literally to the left of that, currently looking down. I think he's a little bit disappointed now. I think now he feels okay. I think that the disappointment has sunk in just a little bit for Tom Uzan, because he's driven so well, Tom Uzan. He had to start from the back of the grid for all of his heats. He worked so hard to get into the final, and he could have very well moved forward from there, Tom Uzan, on home soil, but unfortunately today it's not going to happen. Guillaume?
I went actually looking for information indeed. Fortunately, I have no confirmation yet if we're going to see either Kharitonov or Vanthof back on the track. Actually, timekeeping, it was not entirely confirmed yet, as we still have a look on the drivers on the track. We should have confirmation once they complete the warm-up lap, I guess, but no confirmation yet. I guess Delano Vanthof actually wasn't able to take part to the warming lap due to what seemed to be a mechanical failure. They weren't able to start the kart. For Kharitonov, that's of course more serious, because we don't know how bad the damage could have been resulting of the incident. Maybe there was no damage at all, because I think the two karts have been recovered.
It looked pretty bad. I don't know. It looked like he definitely had damage. And there we go, actually. So we are going to get going. In fact, Guillaume, we're going to find out in just a second.
It would have been a miracle to get out of that kind of incident without any damage on the chassis for Kharitonov, I mean.
I think so, yeah. I mean, they were running back. Some of the mechanics were running back to see if they could get the kart going. There are the mechanics now coming back across to exit the circuit. It's now going to be a 20-lap race rather than a 21-lap race. And I'll hand over to Guillaume to now talk us through the grid.
Let's get back for a quick look. Of course, Nikita Bedouin will be starting from pole position as Tanan. Yeah, we have the confirmation right now on the screen that we have in front of us. My dear Chris, Tikhon Kharitonov, the 216, that got involved in this big incident with the French driver Tom Uzan, won't be starting again this finale. Delano Vanthof
will.
Unlike him, will indeed. Confirmation that Vanthof actually had his car running. That's good news for the young Dutchman, as he will be starting from the 15th row on the grid. Nikita Bedouin is your pole sitter. Kai Aske alongside him. Victor Bernier, Gabriel Bortoleto on the second row. Then we have Gabriel Emini, Sebastian Gravlon. Paul Aram, the current championship leader, is starting from 7 with Zach O'Sullivan alongside him. That will be all. Over to you, Chris. This is the finale. Getting back again.
Bedouin to the left and Aske to the right. Across the line we go. Aske moving across there, was briefly thinking about challenging for the inside, but going into second is Victor Bernier. Gabriele Mini has gone through to third place. Aaron up to fourth. So Aske has dropped to fifth place as we head up towards turn 3 for the first time. It looks as if Alex Dunn is in sixth place. Then it is Zach O'Sullivan, and a big incident once again. This time, no huge incident in terms of damage to any drivers, but in terms of the amount of victims taken out in it, certainly we have 4 drivers gone. It looks as if we have Delano Vanthof involved, Lorenzo Dall'Oisio involved, Conrad Lawson involved, and Josh Dufek involved as well, as we make our way round turn 8 now for the first time up towards turn number 9. It is the 237 of Nikita Bedouin leading, the 227 of Nikita Bedouin leading as they come across the line, but Bernier down the inside in front of his home crowd takes the lead in towards turn number 1. Fantastic stuff there from Victor Bernier going through turn number 3. They go, and another move behind that. Paul Aron goes in front of his championship rival Gabriele Mini to take third place. Alex Dunn is there in 5th place, having gone past Kayaski, who's struggling at the start, and Aaron now running wide at the next corner, and he's dropped a few positions as Paul Aaron. He's dropping down the field. Someone running wide on the exit of turn 6. It was one of the Ricky Flynn motorsport drivers as they head through turn number 8 now and up towards turn number 9. 2 groups of 2 at the front, Guillaume, and then a big battle on for 5th.
What a start of a race is it, Chris, with one more big incident indeed as the field comes across the start-finish line again. Victor Bernier leading the way, as you said, in front of his home crowd with a bit more indeed of 1/10 of a second from Nikita Bedrin, increasing the pressure. A change for 3rd position with Alex Dunn getting past Gabriele Mini in the turn number 3. Beautiful move from Alex Dunn, now sitting in 3rd position. These are the 2 drivers you have on screen, with Gabriele Mini, the Italian driver, in the white crash livery, making their way into turn 6, over the hill into turn 7. There's a battle going on for 1st and 3rd position. As you can see, into turn 7, it is very, very close between Victor Bernier and Nikita Bedrin. Bedrin was almost side by side with Bernier outside of the turn number 8. This is quite the first time that we get to see such a beautiful fight in those corners. One of the trickiest, certainly, in Hesse, making their way into turn number 2. Very close between Victor Bernier and Nikita Bedrin. Less than 1/10 of a second between those two. Then we have a gap. Alex Dunn managed actually to increase a bit of his advantage, and Gabriele Mini in 5th position for Gabriele Bortoleto, setting up the fastest lap. As you can see on screen, this is in number 5, and the 2
Montoya off.
I was going to say Juan Pablo, but this is Sebastian Montoya, his son, out of the track in the grass. What happened over there, Chris? And I think the 2 leaders just touched. They just touched in corner number 7.
Yes, they have. And look at Alex Dunn in 3rd place. He's closing in on them very, very quickly as we go on to the start-finish straight. Alex Dunn has just set the fastest lap of the race in 3rd. So Bernier and Bedrin, who haven't really been fighting too hard either, have allowed Alex Dunn to close in. 4th place, Gabriele Mini. Then it is Gabriel Bortoleto. Then Hajar, Aaron, Zach O'Sullivan, Chavez Kamada. Kittle Small is up 9 places into 10th as well. He sounded confident on the grid, and he's absolutely flying, as is Lawrence Van Hopen, as is Evan Malay, as is Elliot Veyron, who's gone up 13 places all the way from the back of the field as they climb uphill now for the 5th time. The top 3 in picture, Bernier, Bedrin and Alex Dunn in that order. In the white crash helmet there you can see Gabriele Mini, who is 2nd in the championship. Then it is Gabriel Bortoleto, your championship leader and potential champion in a few laps time. Paul Aaron has clear air in 7th place, so just in the position that he would like to be as they go down towards turn number 2 for the 6th time of 20. Alex Dunn looks to be lining up a move here to me. Nikita Bedrin is just slipping away ever so slightly from Bernier. Behind, I think Mini and Bortoleto are going to start working together a little bit if they aren't already. Lawrence Van Hopen has now set a new fastest lap. He's currently up to 12th place, having gained 11 places as we head now up towards turn number 7. This for the 6th time, and Nikita Bedrin starting to fight back. He's starting to pull away from Alex Dunn once again. All of a sudden, Bernier is feeling a little bit nervous, as are the home fans who are here to cheer him on.
Yeah, 2 wins for Victor Bernier in the qualifying heats, and he's now leading the biggest race of the weekend with a battle coming up for second. Yeah, in the turn number 2, it doesn't take the inside line yet. Alexander very, very threatening on Nikita Bedrin, and it goes for... And
oh my big God! Incident! Done
Huge incident, and the contact in the turn number 3. I think the 2 cars just slipped over each other. Very, very contact, and careful over there with all the drivers passing by. This is happening off screen. My God, Chris, one more big incident in this finale. But as we have a look at it from our commentary box, both drivers seems okay, especially one of the 2. I think it was very serious, especially Alex Dunn. I think, Nikita Bedrin. I think we just got run over by Alex Dunn, literally. What an incident happening in turn number 3.
Oh, big incident there, and Nikita Bedrin very aggrieved, and I think perhaps has the right to be. It was Alex Dunn making the move, and the contact, I'm afraid, was made before they turned into the corner. As much as it feels bad to say that, having watched both of these guys race so well for the whole weekend. I had 2 press conferences with Bedrin, and he's been great to speak to all weekend. Of course, Dunn, someone I've commentated on back in the UK in the past, and I think just wasn't enough space for him to make the move. He tried to do it anyway, and Bedrin feeling very, very disappointed. But the race must go on, and Victor Bernier now has Gabriele Mini trying to chase him down here. In third place then it is Gabriel Bortoletto. Isaac Hajar now is in fourth. He is the French driver. Oh, and another incident. Who's involved in that? Who's that off the track? Is that Sebastian? No, it's one. Is it Lawrence Van Hopen? It is. Van Hopen is off the track then. There was a couple of other drivers that must have been involved in that got delayed. Yes, Evan Millet was the driver involved in it because he's had a very slow first sector. Evan Millet, that's a shame because he had gained 15 places up until that point. That is the 2:03 of Zach O'Sullivan, who is behind Paul Aron in 6th place at the moment as we go on to lap 10.
What a race so far. And one more Tonica driver with Lawrence Van Hopen involved in an incident just after Nikita Bedrin. What a disastrous scenario for the Russian driver. But in the meantime, Chris, what has been happening? Gabriele Mini is back in 2nd position indeed. Half a second behind Victor Bernier, the Frenchman, being the solid leader so far in this finale. And Gabriele Mini, thanks for spotting that, being the fastest driver in the first sector of this track. Shall we see maybe fastest lap? Actually, it's Alfio Spina who just set the fastest first sector on this track. But Gabriele Mini is really on a very good pace at the moment. Victor Bernier could start worrying. These are the 2 drivers that you have on screen. The 2:35, the white crash helmet from Italy. Gabriele Mini really consistent since the start of the season, except for a bad result back in Germany on the Empfing track. But now he's back into contention and he's really into it, into the pace, maybe to go and Grimp actually take a victory. That could be the first win for Gabriele Mini this season in this category. We're not there yet. We're halfway to the distance, 20 laps in total, less than 10 to go, and we're going to have a good fight certainly happening very, very soon. You see them on screen, and there you go for it. Mini.
Oh, Gabriele Mini down the inside of Victor Bernier then. Well, Gabriele Mini takes the lead. What a fantastic move that was. There was just a little bit of wheel banging along the way as Victor Bernier, I think, wanted to believe it wasn't happening. But Gabriele Mini is into the race lead. Bortoletto is right there with them now in 3rd place as well. He said, I believe I'm going to win this race. He said that on the grid, and he's currently on his way to potentially challenging for a win. Isaac Hajar is doing a fantastic job in 4th. There he is on your picture, just ahead, small in stature. Behind him in the blue and white crash helmet, that is Paul Aron from Estonia, who would become the first champion from Estonia if he can wrap this up today. And all he needs to do is basically do what he does now, just stay on track. It's going to be as easy as that for him. Zach O'Sullivan is then next along in 6th. Kildall Small is up 12 places to 7th. Then it's Rafael Chavez Camara, Kai Aski and Luca Grigg. So looking at the drivers, we've got Mini, who should be hanging on to 2nd in the championship with this result. Bernier, whilst Guillaume keeps his eye on this battle on track as Aron goes down.
Aaron goes, yeah. Paul Aron goes and takes the inside line. Sorry, Chris, about that. He takes the inside line. Paul Aron getting past Isaac Hajar in 4th position. This is a brilliant performance from Paul Aron. I suggest and I think that Aron has seen Gabriele Mini taking the lead previously. He knows, of course, as they've been making the calculation for the championship, he knows that maybe to be entirely comfortable for the championship, the upcoming title that he might get,
and
he needed
move
to get a pass. Another move from Aron.
Zach O'Sullivan.
Sorry about that. This is just behind happening. Zach O'Sullivan getting past Isaac Hajar. My apologies, as they have the same livery from Ricky from Motorsport. The field comes across the start-finish line again. Gabriele Mini extending his lead, with almost 7/10 of a second from Victor Bernier. Gabriel Bortoletto still in 3rd place, quite away from the pressure from Paul Aron in 4th. 5th position then for Zach O'Sullivan, his teammate. Isaac Hajar is 6th. Kyrus Small is 7. Rafael Chavez Camara is 8, ahead of Luka Griggs
Oh,
and Thomas
move
Tembricki.
and contact, and one of the Cosmic drivers is off there. Chavez Camara looks to be off the circuit. I think that was Thomas Tembrink going for the move there, and Chavez Camara, I think that was, yes, it was off the track. So Thomas Tembrink, I think, has lost a place after that. So Thomas Tembrink trying a move, and we've seen so many incidents at that very corner, Guillaume, down at turn number 4. Just doesn't seem to work, but out front the leaders have separated themselves from each other now. Gabriele Mini's lead is 0.7 of a second over Victor Bernier, who has a gap of half a second to Gabriel Bortoleto. I'll tell you what, Paul Aron wants to end this championship on the podium. He has just set a purple first sector as he attempts to chase down Gabriel Bortoleto. Zach O'Sullivan is 5th, Hajar 6th, Kiddlesmall up 12 places to 7th. Then it's Griggs, Tembrink and Marcus Armand also up 12 places. He is now 10th place as we are looking at Zach O'Sullivan trying to chase down his teammate Paul Aron and a potential podium finish.
I was going to say that's interesting to see the two teammates, Paul Aron and Zach O'Sullivan, respectively in 4th and 5th place. Could we expect some team play over that one? As we know, we're still in racing, even though the teammate is still racing drivers, but knowing that Paul Aron might actually be able to get the title at the end of this race, could we expect Zach O'Sullivan maybe not to attack him and, who knows, actually prevent the others to try to get past Paul Aron? So to make sure that with the 5 points that Paul Aron has on Gabriele Mini for now, as we still have less than 5 laps to go, then it would be secure for the European Championship. Just a guess, as we've seen happening, of course, in the OK Series, for example, back at Hampthing. Team play could actually decide of the final result, as we have the two Ricky Flynn motorsport drivers, the 208 Paul Aron that you see on screen running for 4th, and just behind him Zach O'Sullivan in the same livery. I would go for that kind of smart move, even though Paul Aron, as you mentioned, Chris, is going to try to get on the podium as he's getting very close to Bortoleto, the Brazilian driver. You can see them on screen getting into turn number 5. Gabriel Bortoleto, 202, driving for CRG. He's going to try to hold his position. Could we see Paul Aron trying to make the move as they make their way uphill into turn number 7? That might happen over there as Paul Aron is going to try to take the inside line and go for it. No, he stays behind. I think there was a wise choice over there as Bortoleto was closing the door at the very last minute. If you were Paul Aron, Chris, my question, would you go for the move knowing that that can be kind of risky? There's a title at stake, of course, for him. He has 5 points clear of Gabriele Mini, the current leader, and there he goes, I think. Or was it? No, sorry, not that.
Yeah, no, I'd go for it. As long as there's a gap there, go for it. If no gap opens up, then don't. So I think that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. What I can tell you is the virtual championship as we speak. Paul Aron is on 85 points. Gabriele Mini is on 80 points. So he does need to go for it because the gap has really reduced. Gabriele Mini is, of course, leading the race as they head up into turn number 7.
There's a slight contact just happened, Chris, I think.
Yeah, so if Paul Aron were to lose a few places, then he would lose the championship. So really, he does need to get this. He just can't afford to lose any places, so he can stay here. Paul Aron is on 85 points. On 80 points, it is Gabriele Mini. On 68 points, it is Bortoleto. Oh, as Aron loses a place to Zach O'Sullivan. Victor Bernier has 56 points. Then it's Askey, Van Hoff, Griggs, Small, Begnovic and Tembrink. So that's O'Sullivan up to 4th. He's now going to try and line up a move on Bortoleto. So at the moment, Aron will still be champion. Gabriel Bortoleto will still finish 3rd in the championship with Askey down in 14th place.
Aron is back where he was with 3 points clear as for now on Gabriele Mini, the leader. 3 points is not much at all, you know. One more drop of position for Paul Aron, and then you could say maybe goodbye to the European title as the driver get into the final lap. Final lap for Gabriele Mini, who's doing the job of his life on his way to victory, certainly in this round of essay. The 3-driver battle that you see on screen is for the 3rd place. Gabriel Bortoleto ahead of Zach O'Sullivan and Paul Aron. It seems Paul Aron under a lot of pressure of Kyrus Small just behind the 220 This is going to be very tight until the very end of the checkered flag as they make their way into turn number 5. Paul Aron is going to have to hold it together until the checkered flag. If he loses one more position, that could get him into trouble for the title, Chris, on that one, as Gabriele Mini is going to win that one for sure.
Yeah, Gabriele really 1 corner to go. All Aron needed to do was hold position. He's going to do that, but Gabriele Mini is going to take the win here at SA. Across the line he comes. Victor Bernier second, and Paul Aron is the 2018 European Junior Champion. He comes across the line to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Johnny Edgar, NM Ahmed, Lando Norris, George Russell, Alex Albon, Nick De Vries, and also the likes of Sebastian Buemi and Sebastian Vettel, some real idols. Paul Aron will be following in the footsteps there. You've got to give a lot of credit to Gabriele Mini, who was only 3 points away at the checkered flag. He gave it a good run at the end, and Paul Aron was feeling very, very nervous, I'm sure, as were the Ricky Flynn Motorsport team. But at the flag, Paul Aron is the 2018 European champion. The full result, Gabriele Mini takes the win from French driver Victor Bernier on home soil. With that result, Victor Bernier moves up to 4th in the championship. Mini, of course, the vice champion for 2018. Gabriel Bortoletto is 3rd on track and in the championship as well. Zach O'Sullivan finishes in 4th place. Paul Aron in 5th place. He is, of course, your 2018 champion. So needed when he was down the field to gain some places, and did so successfully. Those incidents that happened ahead could have played a big part in this championship if they were to not happen. Then we had Kiddle Small, who'd gained 13 places. Brilliant drive from him. One of the biggest movers on the field, Kiddle Small, and he's 8th in the championship. As Guillaume Alvarez, I think, is going to start heading his way down to the podium. Guillaume, a quick word from you before we go.
What a fantastic race we had, Chris. I think that's certainly the best way to get into that kind of race. Of course, unfortunately, we had some big incident, but no big injuries for the drivers involved. I think from what we've seen on track, but what a job, what a fantastic race from Gabriele Mini. I think he did all he needed to do, actually, coming here in Hesse, winning, just to make sure he could increase pressure on Paul Aron's shoulders. And it was very tight until the very end. 3 points between